So we brought Craig and Shelley along the Kancamagus Highway. They're both really into photography, but Craig really gets into it. I mean, the dude's a Sherpa with about 85, oh hey, hello Leaf, with about 85 pounds of gear on his back. We're in this gorge, and it's gorgeous. So he's trying to get some good shots, but the sun keeps wreaking havoc on what he wants to do.
So yes, the music that you're hearing is setting the tone for this whole video. Something tragic happens. No, we're all okay. Just something unexpected. So this gorge was, as Chris said, gorgeous. Lots of photographic opportunities. We were there a little bit too late for the gorgeous light, or too early, if you'd want to be there in the afternoon, which might actually be better. This is composition number 1, and it's shot number 1. I did some handheld shots while we were there before getting the tripod out and starting to work with filters. I wish I would have gotten the tripod out for this one. Composition number 1, shot 1, was handheld, and with the shutter speed high enough that nothing's really out of focus in the frame. The only problem that I have with this composition and this shot is the shutter speed is too high to show the motion of the rapids there in the gorge. Yeah, a little bit of a disappointment for myself, but you know, we live and we learn. It was a new location that I'd love to get back to. Composition number 1 still. This is shot number 2 with a much slower shutter speed. If you'll notice, the highlights are almost blown out. There is motion in the water. Unfortunately, with such a slow shutter speed, there's nothing that's sharply in focus. I was able to do some work in post to bring down those highlights and bring it back to the image that I saw in my mind. But without any sharp focal point in this image, it just isn't a keeper. Like I said, I really want to get back there. I want to do some shooting either earlier in the morning or right before sunset. What a gorgeous location this is. I loved it. We spent a lot of time here exploring with Chris, Susanna, and Corbin. It was a weekend, so the location was rather busy. I'm going to bring both the shots in here at this point so you can see the two side by side. Now, the one on the left is the one with the slower shutter speed. The one on the right is the shutter speed that there's sharpness in, even though it's handheld. Tell me which one you think, and how would you deal with this situation? Let's discuss this. I love the fact that Chris was there shooting B-roll and doing these little intros throughout. Go on over, check out their channel, Hinting the Trail.
Craig's using a time-tested technique here of the hat. I believe Ansel Adams first used this in Yosemite.
So this is composition number 2, shot number 1. Please hang around to the very end and you'll see why this video has such a weird mood to it, and why maybe the rest of the trip had a slight downward angle for me, mood-wise. I love this composition. I love where it's at. You'll notice in the raw on the left there that my tripod leg is still in it. You'll also notice when we get zoomed in a little tighter, there's a couple across the stream there, sitting on the rock, photographing the falls there. There's also a gentleman farther back. So like I said, this is shot number 1 of composition number 2. It has people in it. Has some clouds up in the sky that I like. So I hung around, was using that time-tested technique of using your hat to blot out the sun to get rid of sunspots on the lens. And I was able to get a frame with no one in the scene. I like the look of this shot minus the total bluebird sky. This is shot number 2 for composition number 2. Now I bet you can kind of guess where this is going. I'm going to take both of these 2 shots, shot number 1 and shot number 2, into Photoshop. I am going to align them so that I can pull everyone out of the shot that I don't want in it. So I have that beautiful, pristine, natural environment, when in reality, it was an insane madhouse of people. So which one do you like? The one with people or the one without? Sometimes I like to have people in my photos. It depends on what they're doing. If it adds something to the overall image. Here we go into Photoshop. I'm going to merge the two images, align them, and pull the people out. This is a shot that I really like. I wanted more cloud in the sky. I wanted less people in the foreground. And what I really wish we would have had is a lot more fall color. You can't control the conditions. You can't control when you shoot, when you're traveling. And here's the moment that I've been alluding to this whole video.
And then this is what happens when you get greedy.
Oh no.
I went to renegotiate the tripod and it just went boom.
Oh.
So hopefully it's just the polarizer.
Like, I'm almost crying.
So this is just... So that's my filter, and that is hopefully a good inch or two from the bulb.
Wow.
Yeah, but that thing's shot. Look at that thing.
Well, you might still be able to use it. I mean, if you push it.
Yeah.
Is that expensive?
This is like $150.
We just smashed it on a rock when you were walking up?
No,
Did you
this is...
smash your lens too?
No, I didn't. The lens didn't take any of it. No, I was trying to renegotiate the tripod down there because I realized I had my leg in it, my tripod leg in it. So I'm like, oh, I'll just renegotiate it. And I had it solid, and I just turned for a second, and it went boom right down on that corner.
Can you hear it?
Yeah. And when I turned and saw that, I was like, it's a good thing that the hood is so deep.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that would have been gone, and that's $2,500.
Yeah.
Whereas this is...
Well, if mine were wider, I'd say you could borrow mine, but
that's definitely...
mine's too narrow.
That's a new art filter.
Ouch. It could have been so much worse. I was literally standing just inches from the edge of that chasm. I could have lost the camera. I could have fallen in. Oh man, one more photo to talk about. Let's end it on a high note with a panoramic. Yeah, this will make everything better. This one's only 6 frames, but I did shoot it with my wide angle 14-24 at about 14 millimeters. I do love this image. The light's about right. It's a little bit cloudy for my liking, but you need some interest in the sky. I do like what I was able to come away with after stitching it together and doing some post-processing in Lightroom. I feel better. Unfortunately, I didn't have my circular polarizer for the rest of the trip after the break, because breaking up is hard to do. I had to use some digital dehazing there to try to get into the water, like I normally would with the circular polarizer. Turns out pretty good. Like I said, Shelley and I plan on getting back there. And here are Shelley's takes from that outing. She actually shot down the gorge towards the footbridge in the distance there. I like this composition. I wish I would have thought to take one as well. My favorites, though, are these 3 that have the swirling bubbles in a whirlpool at the base of the lower falls, in the lower falls scenic area. I love the motion that it captures and just the thought that went into making these photographs that she did. She did a really great job with these. I was so thoroughly frustrated with all the people getting in the way of me making a photograph, and the fact that I lost my circular polarizer and couldn't get the effects that I was looking for in the field. Shelley also did a couple panoramics from some scenic overlooks along the way that day. All in all, yes, she came away with the better photos again. That's typical of our outings. And here, I'm going to leave you with a little bit of fall color. This isn't the most amount of fall color that we saw on our trip. Most of it was on the way home. We enjoyed our time with Chris and Susanna Hinton and our time in Maine and New Hampshire with them. Thank you for watching,